Now sing.
Okay, this is Long Tall Tom McCrary of Penrose. Of course, you all know he's famous because he's on the front page of the paper here for he got Quilts of Valor last week. And he's one of the few veterans that served in both. Well, that's okay. Y'all hear out there? Served in both Europe and the Pacific. And so he's going to start us off by telling about when he was over there. He was with a mortar unit, and Long Tall Tom was able to carry that 45-pound base plate hooked to his belt and run through the woods. And start telling about that, about the time when you first set up and had to fire back at the Germans.
When I get started on this. I got the crew too. To start off with, you can't understand me. But being in a mortar squad, that's they call it a 81 millimeter. It's a tube and a base plate and a tripod. You have first gunner, second gunner, shot an 11-pound shell. So in basic training, that's what I specialized in. You have a number in the Army, MOS, I think they call it. What you specialize in, well, that's what I trained to do basically in basic training. So I end up in California in a rifle squad, which I didn't exactly like, but I thought I was going downhill. But anyway, and then I ended up with what's worse than that, what they call a BAR, that's a grounded automatic, and weighs 21 pounds, I remember that. And they told me, said, oh, they'll help you, call me Mac, they'll help you carry that on a high. Well, I never got any help. Everybody else had M1, I had that 21 pounder. But anyway, it was more or less a suicide gun. Every squad had one, every company had one. And it, of course, now they've got big long magazines on them, but back then, they just, I think it should shoot 12 rounds. So you was trained, if you was on the front lines, you was trained to be able to shoot that thing like a rifle, just one shot at a time. Because if you ever turned it loose, if a German heard it, you're out. You know, it wasn't no good thing to have to be carried around. But anyway, I went from down in Georgia or edge of Florida to California. And that's when I got onto that mortar, that BAR. And I got transferred back into a mortar squad, which I liked real well. So I ended up over in, well, we landed over in France. And little seaport town, I remember the name of it. This gentleman spoke before me. I envy him. He reminded me of one thing. I'll break into my subject all along. But he said he's from the Bronx, and I thought, well, I was with a bunch of Yankees when I was in but I made one mistake. I couldn't remember it, and I said, you know, it's plumb muddy out there. It's mud over. Well, I'm going getting all screwed up here. I'm over in the Philippines now. But and one of them Yankees said, what did you say? And I said, it's plumb muddy out there. Well, everything they said, I got to get my plumb rifle. I got to get my plumb routine. Get all that else. I wish I'd never said it. That was about plumb.
Plumbless.
You boys aggravating. And of course they talk about Mammy's cornbread and buttermilk, potatoes. I wish I had some of Mammy's tasers.
Tom, skipping ahead to you're about the time when that shell hit near the Jeep and it turned over on you.
Yeah, I'm shooting a bullet. I turned over the Jeep I was riding on a trailer. And I turned over it. But they have a little backup there. They have a lot of potatoes over there in Belgium and Germany. And if you're on sea rations, you'll eat taters, you know. So anyway, I turned over that Jeep, and there's about 4 or 5 of us on it. And we'd been walking for 3 or 4 days. It was at night. All the convoy had little lights that would hide from the sky, you know, flyovers, you know. It looked like, we call them cat eyes. So there's a row of us there. Well, a shell came over and hit in front of the Jeep. And before he could stop, he went in the hole, pretty heavy shell. And the trailer turned over. And there's about, I don't know, there's 4 of us on it, I think. But I had one real good buddy on that. Well, Bob, he's my buddy. He's Missouri. He wasn't a Yankee. Turned over and my leg was under the Jeep, under the trailer. But he throwed all the rest of them. So I was in a kind of a ditch. And I really felt, I was half froze anyway. It was cold, cold, cold. And I really thought in my heart that my leg. I didn't feel nothing much anyway. But anyway, the guys went down the bank, pretty steep bank, and they was down there talking. Me under the Jeep, of course they didn't know I was under it. And I heard Bob say, they broke a damn churn. Well, what was it? We had a little churn. We got a lard. That's the only thing we had to fry the table. And that was precious. They wouldn't no shortening. They wouldn't, as they told me in basic training, they wouldn't even give me no lemonade. I said, Bob, get me out of here. Of course, I never did let him live that down. You go for that darn churn. Turn the lard and you did me. But they pulled me out of there and picked up a lot of ground fire and actually went off and left me. They had to, well, the ambulance came to get me. And I remember they got me up on the stretcher. And I done told Bob and the rest of my buddies, I'll see you, I'm going home. You know. You ain't going nowhere. I'm bad shape here. They got me up there ready to go into that ambulance, I remember. And they had one little heater in the top of it, and I could feel it. I thought, hallelujah. Ready to shove me in. And they said, man, you ain't hurt that bad. The man down he's hurt worse. A lot worse than you. And just flopped me back down on the ground. I took him and got hurt worse than I did. But anyway, 2 old people, I was in Belgium at this time, a real old couple. They took me down to this house. They was having to move out pretty quick because it was under fire. And took me down to this house. All at once it got quiet. And, well, to begin with, they ripped my pants, some old OD pants, which I had long hair. And they ripped them in two. I was laying there with my hiney on the ground. Snow on the ground. And they kept saying, be still, Matt, you ain't gonna die, you ain't gonna die. And I said, put your hind end down here.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I was trying this first time. But anyway, I ended up down in this old house with this old couple. And of course, we couldn't communicate. I know I'm not talking clear, I guess. Most of you both anyway.
You were left behind with them because your unit had to move out.
Yeah, they left me behind with them. They had a fire. They had a fireplace. And they were trying to make me comfortable. They were real friendly. I don't know where they were sympathizing with Hitler at that time. I really didn't know. But they still had a knife on the leg.
Oh, that's right, they strapped the carbine to your leg because they didn't have a splint.
Yeah. They had one split. So I laid there and laid there. Everything's quiet. They don't leave me for it. Take me somewhere. And I guess it didn't stay there toward midnight. And I got up. They wanted me to stay, you know, and be comfortable and all. I remember the old woman wanted to put a blanket over me. But I stumbled out and I had to walk up a hill, which was crazy. Staggered along. Didn't know where it was. Everything was definitely quiet. But I seen two little cat eyes coming. And I knew it was one of our vehicles. And these two lieutenants were riding around goofing off, I guess. I said, what are you doing out here, soldier? They went off and left. He said, he went off and left. I said, well, you see anybody holding my hand? Where'd they go? I said, I don't know. They went that way. It's okay. So they got on, they had radios, of course, and they found where my outfit was. Got me delivered back. And it was in this old building. My outfit was, they wasn't, like they no chairs here to sit down in. There wasn't no place to lay down in that building. They was laying side by side. And I had to stay out the end of the hallway sitting. So it was a pretty drafty little night. I made it through that one all right. What else?
You said afterwards you got in the line for sick.
Oh, I got in line to go get prepared. And I got ashamed of myself. I said, hey, you know, really, honestly, I thought I was hurt at the start. Anyway.
Okay, now we'll skip ahead to when it was your unit that liberated Hitler's hideout at Berchtesgaden.
Yeah, he beat me too today. I think he's a bragging.
The 86 with Black Hawks.
Pardon?
You were with the Black Hawks.
Yeah, I was a Black Hawks Infantry Division, yeah. I was up. We got up there, the French were coming in up on the other side. And somehow we didn't get along too good, you know, if we went out on the field. I mean, there's everything with friends. But anyway, they wouldn't let us go down the stairs. I couldn't understand why. We sort of toured the building. It reminds me of going up through the forest to that restaurant up on the Parkway. Pisgah Inn. When I go up through there, my mind, this wandering back, reminds me of that road. Going up to Berchtesgaden. And Alps. Something about it makes me think of it. But of course it was bombed out on it. They put a blade on the big tank, you know, fill in holes. But they finally let us go in there, and in that wall as long as this, there's about 3 big barrels. They look like they're finished on the outside with wood and varnish. And big spigot, not spigots, what am I saying?
Taps.
Tap to get the beer, you know. And they put MPs on it. Then they said, you can't drink none of this beer. It might be poison. And you know, a bunch of GIs didn't have no beer. Their tongues was laying out, you know. Not bragging, but I wasn't too excited about not drinking no beer. They put the MPs on it, they wouldn't let it, they had to run some tests. So finally, they turned us loose. Seemed like I was telling him about this, and seemed like that was played more on his interest than anything else. And I drank some of Hitler's beer. So
Wait a minute, I know who drank Hitler's beer.
They blew that up, but I went into my canteen. Every soldier's got a canteen. You know? And one time, some of them would get their helmet out. And they wouldn't let them put it in. Of course, they wanted to feel the helmet, you know. You can't do that, so you get off. Just get one cup of beer, that's all we get. Get out of here, get all out. Don't stay and drink it right quick and get up. So it was kind of an exciting time, I guess you'd say, to know that I was at that merchant school. I didn't know what it was, didn't know where I was when I was there, to be sure. But it's a beautiful thing, but the story they told us, because the old private army, he don't know a lot when he went in, he knows less when he gets out, I guess. The story was Hitler, they got word that Hitler was there, was going to be there, in that retreat, whatever you call it. And they missed him by a day, so the story was they said about 200 B-52s. I mean, they were determined to get it. This was, you know, right middle of the bulge, I guess you'd say. And the story was they missed him, the intelligence didn't get him lined up. That's exactly right. So there's holes in there as big as this room, but they had 500-pound bombs that they filled up. And down in that basement, there's concrete that thick, exaggerated, you know. If they had bombed it, I mean, if they would never got him if he went downstairs. I mean, it was thick. So what else now?
Well, I think we'll start in with the questions now, so thank you, Tom. My question is, how did that beer taste?
No, I can't remember. I just had one sip.
So now,
More or less than
so now these go for either of them. What else would you like to know? Yes, Doug.
Why 30 days to get back? What, were they paddling? I mean, what was
Why did it take 30 days to get back?
Well, when you get on a merchant ship, that's the Liberty ship, it takes 30 days. They go 5 miles an hour. And that's as fast as they go.
5 miles?
Plus, we went through 3 storms coming back. We went to North Atlantic.
Yeah, okay. Well, that explains it, 5 miles an hour? Yeah.
Maybe 10 sometimes. It's according to the weather. The waves keep you back, that's all you go.
Yes.
Question for the gentleman from the Bronx.
Yeah.
After all that combat and guns and all that bad stuff you saw, you came back and you became a New York City police officer. You hadn't had enough of that?
Well, I always like to serve the public.
Okay.
And that's what I did. I joined the police department. I spent 21 years in New York City in the police department and retired. It was the best time of my life.
There you go. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the
I went over to the Philippines there when I got through this thing. And you're talking about 30 days. It took me for what that stuff is.
I was told.
It took me 30 days to go to the Philippines. And we're spread out, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and all that stuff, big troop ship. I was told it had 700 troops on it. Well, we're going back to, in the battle scene over in Japan, presumably. So on the way back, I skip around a lot. On the way back from Germany, I want to tell this, Mike, come over the intercom there, so you got to write to your congressman, your representative, and whatever, senator. And you know, I'm 19, 20 years old. I just barely knew Roosevelt was the president. I didn't care less. But,
There you go.
Anyway, it was, I done lost my chain of thought now.
Right to your congressman.
Yeah, right to a congressman there, and Well, all of us privates, most of them that I was in contact with, we didn't know who a representative was. We didn't know. So they gave us a slip of paper, all of us, and said, when you get home, you write to your congressman and your senator. And I said, this is important. It says there's men at Fort Bragg that ain't never got off the pavement, asphalt. And we've been over in Germany, got 2 or 3 battle stars, and we're not going to Japan. The word got out we was going. And bless Pat, we did go. I mean, they said this is because we was trained in that unfilled landing. So we ended up over there. And I ended up over, they said we was in 700 miles of Tokyo. And every day they draw a big ring out on the deck. Chalk, white chalk. It says, you're going in here. You're going in here. You're going in here. And so we was scared bunch of boys, I'll tell you. But by the grace of the good Lord, Truman, I call it Truman, dropped it. Truman let that bomb drop while I was still on that troop ship. So they unloaded us, I call it unloaded us in Luzon. And I had to serve over there 18 months. Those Japs were up in them rocks, the hills, the caves, and all. And we had set up camp here and then moved about 2 miles on in on the island and scare that place out. I remember one little tale, then I'll shut up. They got the kid and me, I have a real white complexion, you know. And the story was those Japs were cannibals. And they didn't have nothing to eat to start. And that was the story they gave me. But anyway, what I didn't like about it was, of course, we didn't have showers, we bathed in the river with the caribou. But anyway, they said if they catch you, Mac, says they'll be looking for you. So them big white legs you got.
Question back here.
Sir, what was your total term of service?
Pardon?
Your total term of service, how many years did you serve?
About 32 months.
Okay.
I spent most of it on the island over there.
Right.
I mean, I went to Germany and came back pretty quick. Too long.
One thing of note, the war had ended with Japan, but he was still, those Japanese up in the mountains didn't know the war was over, so they're still taking pot shots at Tom and the others in the Philippines.
Well, you take in Germany, they didn't believe the war was over. When the war was over, and Hitler had been killed, we were in Belgium still. We'd moved 20 or 30 miles a day, taking little old towns and securing everything. And they didn't believe it. And their planes would come over. I remember they were silver, little pieces of paper. I mean, they'd flood the whole valley with it, saying the war's over. But they didn't believe it. They really didn't believe it.
Yes.
Mr. McCRARY, did your whole division or your whole battalion go over to the Philippines?
That was the strange part of it. The buzz was coming on when we left instead. And the story we got was Patton needed some more. I was in the 3rd Army, and at that time, see, they were pushing the Americans back pretty fast. Not that I had anything to do with stopping them, but that was a whole division. I'll tell one more tale, I promise you, I'll shut up. We were in California, getting ready to go to the Pacific. And we had mosquito nets and tropical boots, khaki shirts, tropical wear, you know. Well, all the word comes just like that. You're going to New York. And going to Europe. You know, that didn't make sense at all, you know. Well, we landed over in Europe with snow on the ground. I mean, in France, snow on the ground. The French, when they look at us, they thought we was crazy. But what happened? They told us that they shot a U-boat, got our spy ship, which I never did believe. They just was in such a big hurry. So we had that saved my life, I guess. See, I couldn't get in on the boats till we got something to wear. And they bummed other companies out of divisions to supply us. Well, they didn't want to give up nothing they had. So we slept on the ground in a big tent, and we found out, some wisecracker said, if you get off the top and lay your mosquito net down first, grass this one, and then stack your clothes. I mean, that's the only way you had to stay warm. And I thought, well, that's a good idea. So I slept on the mosquito nest till they finally got some clothes to coat. But I think a lot of times, I thank the Lord that maybe that happens. It's just like I was on the ship before we went into Tokyo. I probably wouldn't be here today if Truman hadn't dropped that off. I call him Truman. Thank you. I'll show you if I'm wrong. Any more questions?
Yes.
Did you have any family in Germany when you went over there as a soldier?
No.
No.
My family, I can't remember anybody coming from Germany. I believe they came from Bulgaria, Romania area. Nothing came from Germany. But I like to say one thing. He drank all the beer, but we had all the wine.
Thank you both for your service and for sharing your stories with us. Thank you for coming. Move out quickly.
Admiral of the Navy had control and didn't believe in blackouts.
Yeah.
Well, King, he didn't believe in conquest. The first